Good morning. It's Friday morning. It's March the 1st. Can we believe that? Let's start there. Wow. It's March the 1st. And I know people are working and doing. But I just wanted to come on. Again, it's March the 1st. It's Friday morning. It's after 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But I wanted to share some thoughts, and I hope that this encourages somebody, helps somebody. Some of my random terror thoughts this morning. I was thinking this morning in the shower. Actually, I'm sure I'm not the only one who gives thoughts in the shower. But I was thinking about how my personal word coming into 2024, I changed directions. A lot of people do vision boards. I did a virtual vision board this year. Some people have mantras and sayings for the year. Last year I read this book, in 2022 rather, talking about the power of one word and how one word can change your life. It can be a guiding principle. So as I sought God last year during the winter in December about my personal one word for 2024, that word that kept resonating back to me was me. Me. My one word was me. And so my word that is governing me for 2024 is me. And yeah, I made it my cover page, just a word or art. My life, my finances, my mind, my mental, my physical, my goals, my aspirations, my dreams, my execution. It's about me and focusing on me doing what is best for me and getting it done. My walk with God. It's me. It's me having to own this life at 54 years old. Me having to own it. I haven't always done that. Haven't always owned it, in a real taking charge sense. And so in any event, thinking about how that's been my word, and how here on March 1st, 59 days in to this year, I was assessing how I have done with me, how have I done so far with this year of me, because I'm an analyzer and I'm a thinker. So I evaluate, as the supervisor and the director in me. How do I evaluate? How am I doing? How have you done, Tara Lean? And I think I've done decent. Hey, Sharon. I've done decently in working on me and making me a priority for the first 59 days. Work in progress, have had some missteps, not done it well every single day, but God gives me grace, and I'm learning and learn to give me grace, because I've not always done that either. And so I wanted to say that, and say, sisters, brothers, and particularly to the sisters, as this is the first day of Women's History Month, it's okay if you focus on you this month. I wrote this piece last month about being heavy on the self-love, going heavy on the self-love, heavier on loving on you, and not having to apologize for doing that. And so this is my old, if you will, my vlog, my video blog this morning, particularly to the sisters, not leaving the brothers out, but particularly to the sisters. This is something that I was in therapy this morning, because part of what I'm doing and working on me has involved returning rather to therapy, to get my mind right, like make sure my mind is right, make sure my mental is in the right place, and not being ashamed about that, not being apologetic about that, but really being honest with the fact that Jesus and the therapist that the Lord has created and put in this earth also can benefit me. Yeah, in this year of me. So as I was in therapy this morning, we were talking about some things, and one of the things my therapist said is that you don't have to bounce back immediately. Do need to bounce back, but you don't have to do it immediately. And she talked about the time when she had a toothache and her grandmother was like, you need to get up, you need to just keep it moving because you have stuff to do, you got people depending on you, and so on and so forth. And we talked about the fact that God bless and rest the souls of our ancestors, that we realize now in this place, in this time and space in 2024, that we may not have always been taught right by our ancestors. They've loved us, but and you know, we understand that sometimes there is a need for tough love, but sometimes we weren't always taught right. And that, you know, when, for example, we're told that we need to ignore our pain and continue to move despite the pain and act like the pain doesn't always exist. That's what, you know, my therapist and I talked about this morning, and it's that sometimes you do need to just take time and heal and regroup before coming back on the scene, and you don't have to always make a public service announcement about the fact that I'm hurting and I need to regroup. If you just go off the scene and work on you, that is quite all right. And so let me just read what I wrote at my own personal therapy notes after my session this morning. And I hope that it blesses and helps somebody. I wrote, "Dear sister, you don't always, born in sin, dear sister, you don't always have to bounce back immediately." Yeah, you don't always have to do it. You don't always have to just jump right back up as if nothing is wrong with you. You know, and I share, these are my thoughts. Black women, but especially black women, have been taught to put everyone and everything above ourselves. Let that marinate. We've been taught to put everybody and everything above us, present company included. I for so many years would just go and do for everybody else because I was like, I got to keep it moving because so-and-so is dependent on me. Got to keep it moving because I said I would. And I'm a big proponent of course, you know, honoring my word. But black women, we've been taught to do for everybody beyond, above ourselves. And this is something that my therapist said to me this morning. In doing that, we are dying at quicker rates than our counterparts. Us doing and putting everybody else and self-sacrificing. Hey, Linda, us self-sacrificing is literally killing us. And so we have got to make some changes, sis. Hey, Valerie. Hey, Armita. Hey, Candy. We have got to make some changes. So let me go back to what I wrote. I'm just getting worked up because I'm feeling this. Like, black women have been taught to put everyone and everything above ourselves. We have raised other people's babies. Going back to even slavery, when we were brought to this country, we've been the mammies, we've been the mamas, we've been the big mamas, we've been the little mamas, we've been the grandmamas. You know, we've been everything. We've been the mothers on the block. We've raised other people's babies, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with that in and of itself, but just from the beginning of this country and how we were brought here, we've raised other people's babies. We've kept our and other people's families together. We've saved others and not saved ourselves. We've shown up for everybody, sometimes to the detriment of ourselves. It's always something or someone else. And so I say to you, my sisters, during this Women's History Month, I encourage you this month to make you, I'm pointing at you, I'm pointing in the camera, I'm doing it lovingly. I encourage you to make you a priority in some form or fashion. I know we're caregivers, we're mothers, we're grandmothers, we're aunties, we're wives, we're partners. We've got so many roles, but I encourage you, sis, to make you, dear sister, this is me saying sister, sis, ma, aunt, I encourage you this month, during Women's History Month, to make you a priority. In some cases, that will be your own personal point of history. It'll be your own personal history. What did you do? What history did you make? I showed up for me. That's my history. Yeah. Showed up for me. I did something for me. Showing up. I'm learning to consistently show up for me. For somebody, that's what come March 31st, you may be able to say was your history. Your point of celebration for Women's History Month is, I learned to consistently show up for me. I learned that being the sacrificial lamb, it hurts. I learned that being the sacrificial person and self-sacrificing is killing me. I realize it's raising my blood pressure. I realize that my heart is always racing. I realize that I can't turn it off. Some of that is really has been Terraline. I find it difficult to turn my brain off. So I've been working on doing things that are helping me to turn my brain off. I mean, I'm being very transparent. Again, this month, I'm giving you permission to show up better for you. Make history for you. Make some personal history. If you never get a Facebook post with acknowledging you during Women's History Month, it's all right. If you never make it into any kind of historical book about some great historical feat, it's all right. If at March 31st, you recognize that you have shown up better and more consistently and more lovingly for you, if it's adding 10 more minutes to your sleep time, a half hour to your sleep time, if it's taking a walk and just putting on some music and just listening to music, if it's just listening to some music that gives you peace and joy, whatever it is. It doesn't always have to cost you money. We talked about that the other night in my care convo with Caregiver. Doesn't always have to cost you money. That's something Coretta said. If it's lighting a candle and just sitting in a room with the door closed so nobody else comes in for 15 minutes and unwinding. If it's doing some crossword puzzles, that's something I started to do. So a friend gave me a book of crossword puzzles as a gag gift 2 years ago. It's one of my favorite things, these biblical crossword puzzles. I do that sometimes just to unwind. But whatever it is, if that's it, if you make some personal history this month, sis, I want you to be satisfied and know that's enough. Pour in. This is my cup of tea. I'm not a coffee girl, but it's tea. Pour into you this month. Love you most much. Have a wonderful day. And let's have a wonderful Women's History Month and make some personal history together.